This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. Director General of Health Ashley Bloomfield says there are no new COVID-19 cases in New Zealand today. He says there are now only 22 active cases in the country, with one person in hospital. Dr Bloomfield says New Zealand is relaxing its restrictions faster than other countries, including Australia, and the government is acutely aware that Level 2 still imposes restrictions on some businesses. Officials were looking at what life under Level 1 will look like, and that would be announced in due course. Controversial work on Dunedin's main street got the green light yesterday and remains on track to begin next year. The Dunedin City Council voted to push on with a redesign of George Street with an aim to start work in April.
It's been the hot topic of debate around the kitchen table of many Dunedin homes in the last month, and yesterday the Dunedin City Council spent more than 3 hours debating on whether to continue with work on a redesigned George Street. At yesterday's meeting, councillors voted 10-4 to continue work on the project. Councillor David Benson-Pope says opponents to similar infrastructure upgrades in the 1990s warned then it had the potential to destroy the city centre, but it had not.
We have the opportunity now to stay ahead of the game in terms of what's happening in other cities throughout the country. We haven't been damaged badly by the sort of retail breakout that has done awful damage to Christchurch, and here the only major issues we have were decisions not made by us but by the Environment Court. So I think we have great potential, as we always have, to move.
Councillor Jules Radich voted against the motion, saying there needed to be a much more thorough public consultation process.
Personally, I'd like to have a full year before we got started. But that only adds a few months to the process. But it would send a signal to our residents that we have listened to their concerns.
Councillor Andrew Wiley also wanted more consultation before any work started. And Mayor Aaron Hawkins says while business is essential to a vibrant city centre, there are also the needs of other groups to be considered.
Who is the city centre for? Who is it designed for? And more importantly, who does it specifically exclude? And I use the term city centre on purpose as opposed to a CBD or central business district because while business has always been critical to its form and function, it can't be its only consideration.
Before yesterday's vote, Dunedin property developer Tony Clear told councillors he's not against an upgrade of the street, but retailers are anxious and the council needs to work with them, not against them.
This is not a time to add to their uncertainty. Now is about holding their hand and supporting and assisting where we can.
A downtown advisory group is set to be formed to help inform council on the future design and business case for the work. In Dunedin, the South today.
The Dunedin Night Shelter has reopened after closing during COVID-19 alert levels 4 and 3. Chairman Dr Rob Thompson says it was a difficult decision to close their doors temporarily due to the threat of the virus. Thompson says the organisation is grateful for ongoing support from the public, which has made it possible to reopen. They're placing strict limits on the number of guests able to stay and are planning for safely accommodating both guests and staff. COVID-19 is being blamed for one of the South's largest retailers' decision to close several stores. The H&J Smith Group is proposing to reduce the size of its retail division in an attempt to secure its long-term future.
Time is being called on 120 years of retailing in the South, and COVID-19 is to blame, along with an ageing network of stores. The H&J Smith stores in Dunedin, Mosgiel, Balclutha and Tiano are all set to close, with the loss of 175 jobs. News of the store closures came as a surprise to some Dunedin shoppers this afternoon.
I used to go to the record store in there in the 70s, 73, and look through at all the records I couldn't afford to buy. Like who's this Geigy Pop and Raw Power? That looks interesting. Listen to records on headphones, like Aladdin Sane and couldn't afford to buy them, so just go in there and listen to them in the record department. I like all South Island, old stores. Christchurch had beautiful, DIC, Beaths, Arthur Barnett's.
I definitely shop in shops. I don't like online shopping because it does that. It shuts in. It impacts local economies very badly. So I avoid online shopping.
In the times that I have been in there, I know that it's a nice store. We kind of get to see everyone in there. And with this whole coronavirus being over, it's nice to be able to get out and do a bit more shopping instead of just doing it all online like I usually would.
I was very disappointed. H&J's is a store that has a very good selection, and really we would like to see them stay here in Dunedin. So we've gone and done some shopping. We hope we can help increase their sales and they might reconsider their decision.
H&J's James Smith says the closure or reduction of services at each store is due to happen from August 2020 through to February 2021. However, details are set to be confirmed as part of the proposal process. He says staff will be kept fully informed. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Parents of pupils at Wanaka's Mount Aspiring College don't believe the resignation of the principal will fix what they describe as numerous issues remaining at the school. In a letter to parents, caregivers and students yesterday, College Principal Wayne Bosley says the time is right for him to resign. Bosley has been at the school for 20 years as Deputy Principal and Principal, but has recently come under the spotlight following a poor Education Review Office report and the resignation of 2 school trustees. Bosley will work through to the end of the school term and then step down for the transition to a new leader. Continuing with this year's ASB Otago Sports Awards coverage on the South Today, we're profiling the winner of this year's Otago Polytechnic Services to Sport category.
Joan Merrilees has been involved with Athletics Taieri since the late 1980s, when she first offered to join the committee when her children started competing. As part of the club, she's held roles as an athlete, official, senior coordinator, committee member, centre representative and coach. In fact, after joining the committee in 1990, she is still there. She was introduced to coaching in the mid-1990s, having previously played and coached and umpired netball. With athletes competing in the jumps, hurdles and sprints, she was expertly guided by the late Trevor Bent. Joan has also had multiple roles for Athletics Otago and Athletics New Zealand, including roles on committees, coaching, leading teams and developing officials. Whenever there's a gap, she's happy to put her hand up and support what is needed. Some of her significant roles have included leading the Junior High Performance Program for Athletics New Zealand in a voluntary role in the early 2000s, and being the Officials Coordinator for Athletics Otago for a number of years, to now her role as the President of Athletics New Zealand. We now hear from Super Coach Raylene Bates.
Huge congratulations, Joan. So thrilled that you've achieved this award. A long time coming, and I know Alex had a big part of this as well, but I'd just like to thank you for not just the 30 years of friendship, personal friendship, and our association with athletics, not just here in Otago but in New Zealand as well. But I particularly would like to thank you for being my wingman. You were the one that was on the wing with me when we tried to get the Para Athletics program up and going, which we did. You've been team managers of teams, you've been my right-hand person when I've needed things done. And, you know, to be fair, a lot of the success, not just in Otago and New Zealand, has been as a direct result of your input. So super, super happy. On behalf of Athletics Taieri, Athletics Otago and Athletics New Zealand, well done and huge congratulations.
Your Otago Polytechnic Services to Sport recipient for 2020, Joan Merrilees.
Still to come on the South Today. The Chamber of Commerce looks at alternatives to rates hikes, and we meet the Timaru artist upcycling glass into works of art.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz. Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance fairs. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Do you know Youth Grow in North East Valley? It's an awesome plant nursery where young people can work and learn life skills. You can now order your vegetable seedlings, herbs, bulbs and shrubs over the phone or by email. Either pick up your order on Norwood Street in North East Valley or they can deliver to you. Look for Youth Grow Garden Centre on Facebook or visit youthgrow.org.nz. Happy gardening!
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
Welcome back. The Otago Chamber of Commerce says Dunedin City Council's spending will be a strong part of Otago's economic recovery, but ratepayers should not carry the burden. Chamber Chief Executive Dougal McGowan says businesses are hurting and shouldn't face further disruptions while they try to recover from the financial impacts of COVID-19. McGowan addressed councillors at their annual plan submission hearings yesterday and offered possible alternatives to rates hikes. A Timaru-based artist is using recycled glass to create her artworks. The glass is smashed into small pieces and reshaped in beautiful creations that echo the sometimes sentimental origins of the glass.
Broken glass gets a new lease on life in Tracy Winter's art studio in Timaru, where it is recycled with often a strong sentimental message.
This here was brought and I've made it into one of these little hearts, and that was his wife's. Before she passed away, it was one of her favourite vases and it got broken, so yeah.
Winter moved down to Timaru from Christchurch after the earthquakes and often tries to source glass from heritage buildings which are due to be demolished.
I like using recycled glass. I pick it up where I can. I've been managed to be fortunate enough to be given some from the ANZ Bank in Christchurch, which is really cool. It was pre-earthquake stuff. I do like to reuse things, like upcycle.
While she narrowly missed out on getting glass from Timaru's Seven Oaks Reception Centre before it was knocked down last week, there's plenty of other sources for her to create her artworks, which are now being sold in several galleries across the country.
There's a little place down in Waitati on the way to Dunedin. There's a cafe come gallery there, and I went down there and she took some of my bigger bowls, and yeah, people love them. And then I went to, I've got them also at Little River, and then the end of last year I went up and saw my daughter in Auckland in Parnell Gallery. I walked in there with them and yeah, they've got them, and I'm on their list.
Wow.
It was a bit of a wow moment, that one.
And having had time to re-evaluate her art during the COVID-19 lockdown, Tracy Winter is now committed to making this her livelihood. In Timaru, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, community sport looks likely to kick off in Dunedin, and we check out tomorrow's weather.
Shall I make some scones?
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Do you know Youth Grow in North East Valley? It's an awesome plant nursery where young people can work and learn life skills. You can now order your vegetable seedlings, herbs, bulbs and shrubs over the phone or by email. Either pick up your order on Norwood Street in North East Valley or they can deliver to you. Look for Youth Grow Garden Centre on Facebook or visit youthgrow.org.nz. Happy gardening!
Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
Welcome back. Community sport took another step forward yesterday, but there's still some water to flow under the bridge yet before games are played. With the lifting of the restrictions relating to gatherings increasing from 10 to 100, training will be able to begin with some sense of intensity from Friday afternoon. Games can seemingly be played under the limit of 100 people in a gathering, but there will be tight controls. Teams have only been able to train in groups of 10, which has been limiting most sides to just fitness and not much team play. It's long been debated if some ducks know when the hunting season begins and make their way to urban areas for safety. However, Otago Fish and Game Council Field Officer Morgan Trotter says the increase in numbers around town is more likely due to human disturbance.
A flock of about 75 mallard and paradise ducks avoided the hunters' guns by finding refuge on Dunedin's north ground over the weekend. It's long been suspected that some ducks remember when the hunting season begins and head for the safety of town before the guns start firing. But Otago Fish and Game Field Officer Morgan Trotter says that's unlikely.
I don't think anyone knows for certain, but I doubt the ducks know just when opening day is from their memory, from their habitual memory.
He says the increase in numbers of birds in urban areas this time of year is due to hunters rebuilding their hides in the days before the opening of the season.
What I suspect is that the disturbance of hunters going out to their hunting grounds and getting their mai repaired, and it makes the ducks a wee bit wary around the opening day.
As the hunters' guns continue to blast away over the season, some ducks will remain in the safety of town.
It's hard to be certain, but I imagine they're probably following other ducks, and they notice other ducks' flight lines, and I guess the ducks that live in town all the time, they obviously find it to their favour, and then some more of the rural ducks might follow them in and start roosting in the gardens during the hunting season.
Trotter says it's important to realise that while city folk may notice a rise in duck numbers in town over the hunting season, it's a small percentage of the overall population of wild ducks.
You might be seeing hundreds, whereas throughout Otago there'll be tens of thousands of ducks, so it's still a relatively small percentage of the overall population.
In Dunedin, the South Today.
And time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Hayden.
Hi Sophie, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
Good. A few interesting yarns tomorrow, I think. The first one will create a lot of interest. $2 bus fares. So something that's been talked about for a long time in Dunedin is the bus fares are a little steep in some people's eyes. I know as a man who lives in Mosgiel, I bulk a little bit some days at the $4.50 one way. So Dunedin City Council proposing that it's going to be a flat rate, $2 fares all over the place. That's not enough. I think the Mayor Hawkins and the student representatives have talked about they want free buses around Dunedin to encourage people to get on public transport, but I think $2 fares will really strike a chord with a lot of people, and I think Queenstown has been used as an example where the fees get slashed to $2 and suddenly patronage shoots up, which of course is all the idea. We want people on the public transport and all that sort of thing, so that'll be a well-read story, as well of course the story looking at the future of H&J Smith. So we've had this story with various H&J Smith outlets closing or changing. A lot of questions about the Dunedin one in particular, what will happen to that space in the Meridian. So we've got lots more to come. I believe our reporter's talking to their representatives as we speak, so we'll see what else comes out of that. The COVID vaccine announcement today that some $37 million is going towards funding for the vaccine, and of course people at Otago keenly interested in being a part of that and getting some of that funding, and we've got some very bright minds at our university, so we've got an interesting story on that. And I believe we are talking to Todd Muller today, the National Party leader. I think our political writer Mike Houlihan has nailed him down for a chat. I'm sure Mike will be firing some interesting questions at him, and we'll see if Mr Muller has got some thoughts on what the National Party could do for Otago and for Southland if they are lucky at the election. So, and then an interesting photo on page one, glass houses at a restaurant. That's going to get a lot of people taking a double take. It's a fascinating solution by a local restaurant to the problem of social distancing. Miniature glass houses outside creating little dining pods. So I'll leave that one for the readers to have a look at tomorrow, right. Sophie.
Great, well thank you Hayden. All of that and more in tomorrow's ODT. And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, a ridge of high pressure spreads over southern districts tomorrow, bringing fine, cold weather for a few days. Looking at the southern towns, Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore can all expect fine weather with light winds at a high of 11 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes area, Wanaka and Queenstown are in for fine weather with light winds and a high of 11 degrees. Similar in Alexandra and Te Anau with light winds and a high of 12 degrees. Looking at the northern towns, Omarama and Twizel can expect fine weather with light winds and a high of 12. Similar along the coast, where Timaru and Oamaru are in for light southwesterlies, some cloud and a high of 12 degrees. In Dunedin, it should be fine and frosty tonight with an overnight low of 0. It will be mostly fine tomorrow, except for some coastal clouds, a high of 12 and a low of 0. Expect similar weather on Thursday and expect overnight frosts, a high of 11 and a low of 2. And in Invercargill, it will be frosty tonight with an overnight low of -1. Tomorrow sees fine weather and a high of 12 and a chilly low of -1 again. Expect a morning frost on Thursday as well, ahead of a clear blue day, a high of 11 and an overnight low of 0. That's all for our news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.